If you're an investor within the Web3 and crypto space, you know exactly how critical it can be to get the official links when trying to reach out to a project. Very similarly, if you're on a platform, for example, like Twitter, X, or Discord and Telegram, you know how difficult it can be for your voice to be heard when it comes to providing feedback. Well, there's going to be a brand new platform coming to town called Zesh, which is going to be made up of an ecosystem of multiple platforms that allow for projects to closely align and listen to their communities. So we're going to be talking about Zesh Pay, which is an all-in-one payment solution, not only for payments being made directly within the actual team, but also to members outside of the actual project. We're also going to be talking about Hype Tools, which is a platform that allows for the community to be rewarded for their contributions to their project, followed by Zesh One, which is aiming to be a single point of contact for critical information surrounding a particular project. And then we also have Hodler's Voice, which is going to be a brand new type of system to quickly allow for teams to get a pulse check on feedback coming in from their community. Last but not least, we have what they're going to be calling Bounty Hawks, which are going to be ethical hackers, right? Which will be tied to a project or given access to a project in order to basically perform penetration testing to see exactly where there might be some weak points. So as a part of today's interview, I've got Marius, John, and Ian, who are all going to be key members of the Zesh team to break everything down that they have to offer. What is going on? Ada Nation, welcome to Dapp Central. My name is Fareed. As a part of today's video, I've got three key members joining me from the official Zesh team. We're going to break down everything that this platform is bringing to Web3. Without any further ado, let me bring up the CEO and founder. That's going to be Marius. Welcome aboard, Marius. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Farid. I'm amazing, like usual. Ready to start working.
Yeah, happy to have you here. I know we've been chatting for quite a bit of time. You actually sent me over a white paper a couple of weeks back. I've personally been busy from a crypto standpoint, but I'm happy to finally have you here to talk everything about this brand new protocol. Now, you're not here by yourself today. You are joined by John and Ian. So let's go ahead and bring up John first, who's going to be the CMO of the platform. John, welcome aboard. How are you?
Hey, it's good to be here. Thank you for inviting us today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm looking to hearing more about what Zesh is going to be bringing into crypto and Web3. Last but not least, we've got Ian. Ian, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Fareed. How are you?
I'm doing well. If I'm going to be honest, I've had a little bit of a rough start this morning, but I'm glad that we're finally getting the show on the road. So again, thank you all for joining me here as a part of today's video. Now, for anybody who hasn't heard of Zesh before, maybe we kick it off to Marius first. Can you maybe explain what Zesh is, but then can you also talk a little bit about your experience in the Web3 space?
Yeah, so let's start with me to make an idea who I am. I have like more than 2 decades experience in building web apps, and in these 2 decades, I managed to build more successful businesses, online and offline, of course. And to be honest, I just love to build communities, and I built one of the biggest gambling communities in the world. And I thought that I will be retired after an epic exit, like with 7 figures. And the problem is that I cannot stay away from building apps and building communities, because this is something that is my passion. Among fishing, of course, I cannot leave fishing away. And my success wasn't possible without amazing teams behind Zesh. Behind the other projects. And of course, for Zesh, I managed to bring on board some of the most amazing people so far. I'm very pleased and proud of my team. And now regarding Zesh, just a quick side note before telling you what Zesh about is that in the last 3 years, I was like very active on Web3 space and very active on a few communities like Paribus. Maybe you noticed, because that's how I found about you and your amazing content. And I have been very deep involved in those communities to learn about communities at a deeper level. and I noticed like a lot of problems around communities, and noticed how hard it is to build a legit and active and loyal community for a Web3 project. So when I try to explain to different CEOs and founders the problems that I discovered, because I was also an investor on some of those projects, where it was like, okay, sounds good, but we don't have time. Everybody was like on speed, right? And this is like something very common on crypto. And many of them said, build those apps, build those features, and we will use it, right? So this is what Zesh it is. It's an integrated suite of apps. It's not just one app, but try to solve the many problems that Web3 projects face in growing their developing their communities. That's also stated on our website. So this is something that it's quite unique from my perspective. And as soon as we will dive deep in Zesh, I will explain more about our apps.
Yeah, thank you for the intro there. As you mentioned, we definitely did meet in the Paribus community. And that's actually one thing that I've noticed, right? So I think Cardano boasts a pretty robust community. People are more than helpful, people are more than willing. But I also realized that we are super fragmented, right? A lot of platforms like to use Discord, a lot of platforms like to use Telegram. And that's just one way that we're fragmented. So I can assume that, as you were hanging around in some of these platforms, you were also able to pick up on other issues, which again, it sounds like Zesh is aiming to fix. So I'm not sure who to turn it over to next for a brief introduction. But between John and Ian, any of you want to go ahead and just quickly take the stage, introduce yourselves and what you're contributing to a platform like Zesh.
Okay, I'll go first. So obviously, I'm the CTO of Zesh. I've got a couple of decades of experience working in communications, for mostly international organizations. So I'm quite familiar with how to communicate within crypto that has a community generally from lots of different countries. I've also been working with Paribus the past couple of years, helping on their, writing articles for them, helping with their communications. And pretty much that's what I'll be doing for Zesh, kind of looking at the content, looking at the kind of messaging we want to put across and how to do that.
Thank you. And over to you, John, and then I've got a couple of questions.
Hey, so I've got about 17 years worth of experience working with SaaS companies around the world. I've done marketing, trying to build communities around these products, and we've always had different projects, different problems, figuring out how to increase engagement, how to collect feedback from the users that actually are invested in the project, are bringing value to the product. And we always had a very difficult time doing that. So this is why we've all kind of come together to Zesh to kind of address that issue.
Thank you for the introduction there. And just to be fully transparent, this is only half of the team. Let me quickly just pull up the remainder here. We've also got Vlad. We've got Alexandru, and then we've got Iona. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But just taking a look here, I mean, you guys look extremely stacked. Ian mentioned quite a bit of history and length in the industry, and you as well, John. And of course, Marius, you mentioned you've run a couple successful businesses. So it sounds like you guys are a well put together team. Now let's kind of just pivot over. I've got a quick question, and maybe this goes back to Marius. So with Zesh, I'm seeing a couple of different core services listed on the official website. Do you mind talking about, what are the main goals? And then we'll kind of try to dissect each of those piece by piece moving forward.
Yeah. So you are asking about the first 5 apps that we want to build through for Zesh, right?
Correct. What core services are you looking to provide? What utility will Zesh actually provide? Can you touch on those?
Yeah. So let's start with the utility. The details regarding the exact token utility for Zesh will be released in the upcoming months. because as you can know, everything is under development. We are on very early stage, and we don't want to release some basic utilities and later come up with something totally different. But it's very important to note that will be more utilities than you expect. So we have like 5 apps. We have the Hype Tools, Zesh Pay, Hodler's Voice, Zesh One, and Bounty House. On short, Zesh Pay will fix the multi-payments part, so the teams can pay their, the projects, they can pay their teams, their collaborators, and everyone with recurrent payments. It's just an extra tool, and one of the first tools we will release to help projects to make those multi-payments faster, and also will be an integrated part of the Hype Tools to make multi-payments for winners, for example. Hype Tools, it's basically a platform where users can do tasks and earn tokens. Basically, could earn in ADA, could earn in PBX if you speak about Polybus. So in any token and from any chain. That's the ultimate goal. Also, the Hype Tools will have something very unique. If you go now in the communities, like I told you, I have been very deep involved in those communities. There are big issues to identify who are your real power users and how to reward them, because most of the solutions today rely only on numbers. As you have seen in our amazing team, we have Yona, and Yona is very knowledgeable in advanced AI techniques, and she will help us to introduce those advanced systems on our bots for Discord and Telegram to help us identify those power users, to identify what's most important for that community. I cannot release now some of the information, but believe me, once you will see, we named that Zesh Analytics, and you will have something that's very unique in the system. And this is the reason why it was so easy to onboard and make them support like Zesh and Orion, because such tools are in big demand. And currently today, there's no solution on the market. With Hodler's Voice, you can get feedback from your users. The main problem and the main issue is that they, like you said, is very fragmented on Discord, on Telegram, on Twitter, or whatever. And people go and give feedback wherever they find it's easier for them. The problem is those feedbacks and those proposals are lost. And I always see people complain, did anybody check my feedback? I have a reply for my feedback, and there is none. Because usually those feedbacks got lost, and rarely they just get the support who say, yeah, we will look onto it, right? With Hodler's Voice, you can do so much more. It's tailored for Web3 projects. So only if you have like an NFT, only if you have, for example, a token from our project, you can go and propose things. It's like a DAO without the final proposal of decision. And this will help people and projects centralize their feedback, bugs, and present a roadmap how they was implemented, user to vote and comment on them. I think this is one of the Hodler's Voice will be a very used tool for the projects, because those that are very serious for crypto and the Web3, they will listen to the user. And then another tool will be Zesh One. Zesh One basically is a multi-link in one page, but it's more than that, because will be focused on the side of NFT creators to build a one page where they can sell and showcase their NFTs and build a community around that page as a start. Also, we have the Bounty House. We have Yonut, that's an ethical hacker in our team, and he will lead the Bounty House app that will connect ethical hackers with projects from Web3 to have a continuous security on their side. So as you can see, our business model includes at least 5 apps So we can make sure that we will generate revenue streams from multiple sources, and we can continue to develop our project without putting a pressure or selling pressure on our token.
Thank you for the introduction there. I want to go ahead and quickly recap, and then I want to swing over to Ian, just to kind of talk about, some of the technical aspects, and then also, I believe, some of the multi-chain aspects that you guys are looking to take. So let me just quickly go ahead and share. And just as a recap here, Zesh staking, I don't think staking needs any introduction. I feel like that's a pretty common feature that a lot of the crypto and Web3 community are familiar with. Then we've got Zesh Pay, which is aiming to automate multi-payments in any token. So I can see this again being of value to basically every project that has a token, which is what 99% of projects within crypto. And if you guys are aiming to go multi-chain, I think that really opens this up to be of use, right? To basically any crypto project that wants to do airdrops, that wants to just reward their community, that wants to make automated payments to any other protocol utilizing their own governance token. So I can definitely see that being a solid use case and a solid platform being utilized by a lot of projects. Right below that, we have Hype Tools, which is aiming to allow projects to grow their community and reward their most valuable members. What this kind of reminds me of is something like Zeely, right? We're able to come in there. Now, I don't know if you guys are taking the same kind of quest approach, but we're able to, do certain things, engage with certain content to really allow for the community to shine and show who is contributing the most, therefore most deserving of a potential reward. So again, I think that's a really interesting community building tool. Right below that, as you mentioned, we have Zesh 1, which is aiming to simplify access to key links, right? Or just to key information or key resources that a particular project may want to get access to. Right now, I see a lot of platforms using something like Linktree, which of course, that's a great way to start. But I'm interested to see exactly how you guys are able to beef that up and potentially make that even more of a singular feature, right? Again, reducing the amount of areas or potential user errors that a user has to make in order to get to official documentation. I'm not sure if you guys have been keeping up within Cardano as of late. There's been a lot of scams going around with fake links being sent out to websites, and I could definitely see something like Zesh One being a place to go to make sure that you're getting the correct and accurate information. And then one last thing with Zesh One there is that it mentions on-chain metrics. So again, looks like it's more than just links. It's also potentially data related to the actual Dapp or the application itself. As you mentioned, we have Hodler's Voice, which aims to align projects with the solutions or feedback from their community. Again, we've been in these areas for way too long. I've jumped into Discords, I've jumped into Telegrams, and there's always people that have ideas or that have input. But if there's no way to collectively grab that, simplify that and give that back to the team, then it's almost kind of like a goose chase, right? Where you're trying to find information, you don't know what source is coming in from, and even from a user standpoint, it's hard for them to provide information when they don't know where is the best way for me to do that. So it looks like Hodler's Voice is aiming to do that. And then, as you mentioned, you guys do have a ethical, an ethical hacker. We'll put it that way. Yeah, I didn't want to use that word because I feel like it's got a negative connotation associated with it. But it's an ethical hacker who's able to basically go ahead and try to poke holes, right, in different platforms to identify issues. I think this is something that we need to do more of, because the last thing you want to do is to have an unethical hacker find those holes. So a lot of interesting tools coming in from the Zesh team. Let's jump over to Ian. From a technical standpoint, I mean, this is quite an undertaking. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Where do you begin and why?
Yeah. I'm probably not the best person to speak about technical stuff, but I'll give it a shot. But as you rightly point out, there's a lot to go out there, and rather than trying to be everything to everyone, we are starting with the two apps at the beginning. So that will be Zesh Pay and Hype Tools. So say, for instance, with Zesh Pay, one of the things that's kind of frustrating for people is late payments if they're helping with the project or they're expecting to be rewarded. So Zesh Pay kind of streamlines that, automates it. A big focus of what we're looking at, because we do have some experience in the industry, and our advisors have a heck of a lot more experience in the industry than us. So one of the things we are quite conscious of is that, you know, early startup projects, it's usually maxed out. The team is quite small. The skill set of the team is generally technically focused and not focused on like the soft skills around community building, community engagement. So it's easy for projects in the early stages to make a lot of mistakes and stumble a bit. I mean, having said that, it's easy with with the more advanced projects, as we've seen in the past 6 months. But we've focused mostly on how can we help automate things, how can we streamline things, how can we make it easier for projects really to build and to grow. And that's also one of the things about bringing everything under one kind of dashboard, one kind of roof, if you like, rather than people having to kind of cobble together different solutions from different third parties. They all tend to have a different UI, UX workflow. That's a nightmare in itself. They don't have time to invest in learning new things for each different aspect. So we're very much focused on that as well, building everything around. I'd like to say seamless integration, but we'll wait and see how seamless it is on the technical side. But that's generally what we're focused on: streamlining things, making it easier for projects to manage the key things they need to manage in order to make sure that the community can develop confidence in them. It's easy to develop confidence in their technical skills, but when someone lets you down on the like late payments or missed payments, then it immediately sows doubt in people's minds, because, like you say, there've been so many scams, so many rug pulls. So that's really what we're looking at with Zesh Pay. And in terms of the hype tools thing, I don't know about you, but on my X feed, it seems like every third or fourth post, because since they've kind of monetized engagement, every third or fourth post now is basically someone trying to become a micro influencer, offering $100 or an ETH to someone if they like, retweet, post a comment beneath. So it's kind of, reward campaigns are important for building communities, but the way that they're used at the moment is very one-dimensional, and it's not very engaging for the users. It doesn't reflect well on the project. So we're kind of looking at building that around a gamification approach, trying to make it more engaging, more enjoyable for the community, and also more reflective of the project itself. So I hope that gives you a slight insight.
That does. And I would assume that, you guys aren't just building these tools for other people to utilize. You guys at Zesh, if you guys were to example, have an ambassador program, pay employees, that you guys would also utilize the actual Zesh tools, aka Zesh Pay, etc. And
Definitely.
also even the tools to listen to the community. So that's really interesting to hear. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry
Sorry.
to cut you off there, Don. I just wanted to dive in on the thing you mentioned there about listening to the community. That's a huge thing with Web3, isn't it? It's like Marius touched on, that people make comments and they don't know if their feedback's received. So I've seen in Paribus as one example, the way they are really attentive and focused on their community. And you can see how that really grows, and it adds depth to the project and the community, and it helps inspire new people when they come in. And so it's a bit of a bugbear for me that there are all these multi-million-pound projects, and they have terrible communications with their communities. They're almost dismissive of their communities. It's very easy to come across as arrogant. And so it's really important, I think, that we have this tool that helps projects really identify who to listen to, who's got a valid input, because I don't know, crypto Twitter is a bit feisty at times. So we need kind of a system that is a step away from that, or that can integrate with it and kind of pull the information without all of the noise. And hopefully the AI integration with that will help. And also, a lot of projects talk about transitioning to DAOs, but have no idea how to train their community. And so Hodler's Voice is kind of not a DAO, but it's kind of a stepping stone to a DAO. So I think a huge number of projects will find that incredibly useful in the future.
Very well said. And I'm coming to you in just a second, John. There's two things that I always mention that a project needs to thrive. Number one is a community, but then number two is a functional product. You can't have one
Yeah.
without the other. So you can have an amazing product, but if you got no community to support it, it's not
Yeah.
going anywhere. You can have a super strong community, but no product, and that's also going nowhere. And so I want to just turn it over to John now, right? From a marketing standpoint, you guys are brand new on the block. You guys are aiming to go multi-chain. As you're probably more than aware, crypto is not just fragmented within a particular project, but crypto is also fragmented across ecosystems, right? Where somebody who's on Cardano may not like Ethereum, somebody who's on Ethereum may not like Solana, etc. From a marketing standpoint, what are you doing to make sure that you guys are able to get the message out to all these networks? And then what are you also doing to just kind of put Zesh on the people's radar right now?
Well, we believe in eating our own dog food, so we want to lead by example, using Zesh to build Zesh, especially when it comes to communities. And I kind of want to touch on what Ian mentioned about that perceived arrogance that some projects have while they completely ignore communities. It's not necessarily something they set out to do, but rather it's a lack of insight. They collect data, they collect a lot of information for the communities around them from Twitter, but when there's a lot of data, there's no insight. We aim to actually kind of dive deep and figure out ways to extract and extrapolate that precious insight and giving them to the marketing teams, and leveraging that to actually communicate better with their communities. And that's something that we want to do as well. We are, as far as what we plan to do, is we're not focusing on any one platform or project. Basically, want to use this. We don't want to have Zesh as a one-trick pony. We want to have it. We want to create a product that allows any project, any developer, to engage community and basically give the power back to the community. I feel like we've kind of understated that, and it's so easy to brush off the community and hide it behind whatever numbers. You get these inflated numbers on Twitter, or now it's X, or Discord. You have hundreds of thousands of members. There's nothing there though. So we want to give back that power to the community to actually be integrated and influence the product in a very positive way. And it's got to be a two-way street. While the project is getting feedback and it's getting information, it's getting engagement, the community itself needs to feel like they're heard, needs to be rewarded. And this is where our tools kick in. We empower that movement right there, that two-way street movement.
That's very nicely put.
And
Now, no, go ahead, Marius.
yeah, and it doesn't matter on what blockchain you are, because our tools will help you regardless on which chain you are, because everybody will need Zesh to build strong and loyal and active communities, right? So with the Zesh analytics and tools like that, it's like having 10 steps ahead of any competition. So the marketing will be done by itself. I mean, it's a no-brainer. We go to the project and we just present the advanced stuff we do for their communities and identifying power users and stuff like that, and will be like an instant sell. I mean, there's no such product yet in the market.
And that's actually what I was going to mention, was that, like, when I'm hearing more and more about this applies to any Web3 or any crypto project. Every crypto project has to have a community, And all these tools can basically apply. It's not like there's going to be a particular type of project that doesn't need analytics, or that doesn't need to listen to feedback, or that doesn't need to make payments. These are all things that I've come across. So I want to just, say that all three of you and the remaining team, I think, have done a really good job of putting together core offerings that are extremely needed right now in this space, which I think add a lot of value to anybody that you guys will be collaborating with. Now, I know you guys are relatively new, so I do want to quickly ask, in terms of timelines, of course, it doesn't have to be specific dates. Can you just give us a rough idea? And I'm not sure who to specifically target this question at, so you guys feel free to go ahead and answer. But when can we expect to get a tangible product when that comes on Testnet Mainnet? But then also, because you guys are going to be multi-chain, how do you guys plan to roll out? Will this be a product that can be rolled out independent of a chain, or will this actually rely on smart contracts? For example, on Cardano, are you guys going to be doing things that require you guys to build Pluto smart contracts, or are these tools that can be launched without necessarily tying to a specific blockchain, therefore allowing you guys to launch basically everywhere at one single time?
Sure. So it's very simple. The plan is to have the token event generation by the end of Q1 or very early in Q2. Soon after that, we will launch our first product. That means soon, 1-2 months. And regarding the tech side and the blockchain and so on, we will basically do all the programming with Solidity and with EVMs. Now today you can deploy wherever you want. So building everything with Solidity and using EVMs, we don't have to, the best part is we don't have to choose the blockchain today. I mean, everything is evolving and changing so fast in this space. And in like 3 months, when we will go with token event generation, and even 1-2 months after that with the product, then we can decide maybe we will get attention. We are looking for a home. If somebody from a big blockchain like our product, we can go maybe on Cardano, maybe on Polygon. We don't know yet, and we don't make any promise. The best thing is that no matter on what chain you are, you can use it. So going back to this, that means that we can do our job. We can build the product, and not to mention the fact that most of the coding will require like heavy gamification. That's a lot of Web2 programming, the interface with React and so on. And there's where we excel. We have 2 decades in building those. Our CTO Vlad did one of the biggest e-commerce platforms. So is the right team. We have the right skills for the technology, and we have the Solidity MVMs and infinite possibilities. So I cannot give you a clear answer today for that.
Yeah, and that's completely fair. As you mentioned, this space changes very quickly, and a lot of the work can be leveraged, especially when you're dealing with Solidity. So I can definitely understand that. Again, I know you and I met through Paribus, which is a multi-chain project. So it wouldn't surprise me if you guys go down the same route in order to increase your exposure and to increase your adoption. And so you actually kind of hit on 2 questions there. That was when can we potentially see a product launch, but then also which chains. So let's maybe just turn back over, and I want to just kind of pose all of you guys one last closing question. For Ian first, your experience in communication, shaping narratives and just kind of getting the word out there to kind of build the brand, coming over to 2024 from your perspective and from the skills that you have, what is the one thing that you're aiming to do for Zesh in order to kind of bring it to the spotlight for somebody who's curious about it, somebody who wants to join the community, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing is, how can I say? A key thing is communication within a community. That's what I've kind of learned in my time in Web3. So my focus is predominantly on communicating to people who come to the website and look at our blog or look at our articles on Medium, trying to educate them both in terms of what Zesh does, a little bit on the technical side, but mostly on how it how it can benefit the space, and that kind of brings us into a lot of issues that are very general within Web3. So it gives us a lot of opportunity to kind of have some educational content as well. So I've noticed quite a few people tend to just talk about their product and just have call to action all the time. That's a big turn off for me personally, and for most people, I think. So we're going to be looking at adding value, taking on board as well the fact that with the halving coming up in April, all of the stuff that Elon's doing with money transmitter licenses on X, it's quite clear that we're going to have chains aren't going to really be the issue for people coming in the next few months. 6 months from now, we're going to have quite a large influx of people, because as soon as the bull market starts kicking off, so we've got a lot of new people coming in. And so we'll be giving educational content, we'll be giving an explanation as to what Zesh can do, and trying to see what community builds around that sort of nucleus, and then from that adapting according to what their needs are.
Nicely put. And I do want to give you guys some kudos here. The way that you guys present yourselves, obviously here on this chat, has been amazing, but even just through the white paper, the website, I feel like that in itself, a lot of people don't put enough weight on that from a communication standpoint, where they cut corners on the websites, and these things are like the first impression. When you have that flaky first impression, it's really hard to go deeper on a particular project. But since I've checked out the website, the white paper, the tokenomics, etc., I just continue to be more and more impressed. So I'm excited for the product you guys are going to be rolling out, and I'm excited to see what kind of communications and just educational content you guys will be rolling out here in the next couple of months. Let's roll over to you, John. So your focus is more or less surrounding the marketing. If you had to pick one thing that is kind of going to be the main goal for 2024 in order to bring Zesh to the spotlight, what would that be? And is there anything from a marketing standpoint that you'd like for the community to know a little bit more about that we haven't talked about?
That's a good question. Obviously, we have a go-to-market campaign that's very complex and has a lot of different projects that are going on. One of the things that we are going to be focusing on is building our own small group of power users first, and these are going to be the people that are going to shape the future of the product. And we're going to use, like I've said, Zesh to kind of create that interactions within us and them. Now, something that I'm personally very excited about in Zesh is this introduction of a analytics system that allows us to collect information directly from the communication platform that we're using. It doesn't matter if it's Telegram, it doesn't matter if it's Discord, it doesn't even matter what social media platform are you using, if it's X, Facebook, so on and so forth. We can collect that information. We're going to use a very advanced machine learning algorithm to figure out what kind of things you're doing within the community. Are you helping people? What kind of help are you inviting new people? Things like that of that nature. And that system is going to be done sometime this year, obviously, but I'm very much excited for that. And I think a lot of people they're gonna just fall in love with it right off the bat.
Yeah, you guys have definitely piqued my interest personally with what you were just mentioning there. That would be really interesting to kind of see where everybody falls, right? Maybe you guys kind of have some roles, and I'm not sure how deep into the development you guys are, but I can imagine you guys kind of assigning people roles that they may not even know that was kind of like what they were doing. As you mentioned, it might be somebody who provides a lot of support, might be somebody who's constantly inviting people, might be somebody who's just pointing people to the right place, etc. But those are all, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So, most of these reward platforms that there's already a few of them that work extremely well. They have a preset of actions that a user has to do in order to qualify as a power users, for example. And that's about it. this is where we're taking it forward. Like we'll have those little gamification platforms, yes, but we'll taking that a step forward by actually looking into exactly what they're doing. Once they're in the platform, are they engaging with the content? Are they helping other people? And basically assigning them, well, pretty much what amounts to a score. And that's how we kind of figure out our power users and who our main core members are.
Yeah, but just
Yeah.
look at quantitative numbers and not on qualitative
There you
data,
go.
right? So that's the main goal, because we don't want to be another platform that just do tasks like Zilly, Galaxy, or whatever, are like 5 or 6 websites that are doing well. Of course, we will have that, but it's like I love an explanation from John from a few days ago, and just let me tell you this. He explained me like this: Lambo is a car. Fiat 500, it's a car. They have 4 wheels, 4 doors, or whatever, right? But the experience driving each product, the clients and everything, it's totally different. This is something that with Hype tools, okay, we'll have also the part with the task, but the main features that we bring, unique things in Web3, it's Zesh Analytics that we already explained a few times, and we will release more info soon. And also, beside that, we have a more, because this is something that I think it will be a very good trend for the next few years, and not just in Web3, in Web2 or wherever, the gamification. You can see that including Starbucks and other big brands introduced gamification into their marketing strategy because it's working well. Not what to mention in Web3 where there are so many gamers. So that's another thing. Another thing is I had here like few months ago, I was in a Twitter space, and one of the hosts was like, I love the project because they did a seamless onboarding for Web2 users. So basically, we have in the front of us like a 30x potential growth of coming Web2 users in terms, let's say, in number of wallets to the Web3, but the onboarding, most of the time, it's very uncomfortable for somebody who didn't own a wallet, not to mention to use different DEXs, bridges, and so on. That's why are so many scams and so easy to trick people. What we plan to do is to do a seamless onboarding. They will not even feel that they are on a Web3 platform. And that's another unique thing that will be for our platform. Despite the fact that we will have lots of on-chain behind the interface, like all your achievements and so on will be stored as NFTs, and under those NFTs you will have the SBTs as achievements. So it's a lot to digest. Sorry, I'm so enthusiastic about the project because it's very complex and we can help in so many ways.
Yeah, no, I mean, as a founder, I would hope that you're the most enthusiastic about the project. You know, this is kind of like your newborn baby. You're trying to take care of it, nurture it, and basically help it grow. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been an awesome chat here with Marius, Ian, and John. You know, just to talk about Zesh and all the different features that they're going to be launching in this upcoming year of 2024, which include the following, right? So we have Zesh Pay, Hype Tools, Zesh One, Hodler's Voice, and the Bounty Hawks program coming very soon. So this is just, I think, the first of many conversations. I want to thank the both of you guys, or excuse me, all three of you guys for joining me here as a part of today's video. I've learned a lot. I've got more questions, but I think we just need more time. So as you guys continue to develop, Marius, you've got my contact. Let's get you guys all back here on the show, and let's just kind of talk about how the platform progresses and matures as a part of this upcoming year. So again, I want to thank all of you guys for joining me as a part of today's video, and look forward to doing this very, very soon. For you guys at home, if you guys enjoyed today's video, I'd appreciate you guys if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Century, more content like this, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions for Marius, Ian, or John surrounding Zesh, then make sure to go ahead and leave them down below. As always, we'll see you guys in the next video.